Hello friends, good morning everybody once again and welcome to my channel Easy English Explanation by Pooja Joshi. Now, today we are going to start NCERT book Beehive, chapter number 6, 9th standard, My Childhood. Can you think of any scientist who have also been a statesman? Statesman means politician. Now, here this my childhood is not a childhood of a person like me or you. It's not a normal person's childhood. Yes, of course, the childhood was normal of even that person whom we are going to talk about just now. But this is a childhood instance of a very, very great personality. And his name was Abul Pakir Jainul Abdin Abdul Kalam, APJ Abdul Kalam, who was the 11th President of India, as well as winner of many prizes, awards, national and international. You can just first of all see the picture of APJ Abdul Kalam in your mobiles. Now, let's know something about him and then we will start our lesson within no time by reading and going through between the lines, and going through the lesson very well by reading as well as word to word and line to line explanation by Pooja Joshi on the channel Easy English Explanation. If you have not subscribed still, please do it so and press the bell icon too. You will get the notifications whenever I will post any YouTube video. So Abul Pakir Jainul Abdin Abdul Kalam was an Indian aerospace scientist and politician. Imagine, aerospace scientist as well as politician, as well as such a down to earth humble person who served as the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007. He was born and raised in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu, and studied physics and aerospace engineering. He was born on 15th October 1931 in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu, and he died on 27th July 2015 in Shillong. His full name, as I told you before, Abul Pakir Jainul Abdin Abdul Kalam. More to say is like showing a lamp or fire to the sun. He received many awards like Bharat Ratna, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, Hoover Medal, and many, many more. So, would you like to read about his childhood? Was there anything different or special in his childhood that he became such a great personality whom we are reading today? Okay, so let's start. My childhood. Before you read, here introduction is there. Abdul Kalam, whose projects in space, defense and nuclear technology guided into the 21st century, became our 11th president in 2002. In his autobiography. What is the meaning of autobiography? Autobiography means a person who writes about his own life. Biography is a story in which a person writes about himself. That is, we write a story all by ourselves. Our story. Then he speaks of his childhood. I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town. The town was in the form of an island. That is, island you know children very well. That is surrounded everywhere by water of Rameshwaram. in the erstwhile Madras state. In the Madras state, that is Tamil Nadu state, there is Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram is on the tip of Tamil Nadu, and there is an island where he was born, Rameshwaram Island. My father, Jainul Abdin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. His father, Mr. Jainul Abdin, he did not receive very formal or like some public or convent school education, but he did not even have wealth too much of rich or money. But still, even then, these advantages were there. These were called to be the disadvantages. But he possessed great innate wisdom. Possessed means he had. Innate means inborn wisdom. Innate here means the inborn or having the natural talent. Inborn wisdom. Right from the birth, that is inner wisdom. Wisdom means the witty, that intelligence, and a true generosity. Generous means ready to part with his things easily. The person who can easily give away his belongings and things and always ready to help others. That is the generous. We can say the opposite of miser. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiamma. Means he had an ideal wife. And who was the wife? What was the name of the wife? Ashiamma. And Ashiamma was the mother of, Abdul Kalam. And she was an ideal wife. Helpmate means every way she was very helpful to her husband. That is Mr. Jainul Abdin. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the family members of our own family put together. Means, apart from feeding the family, they have no count that so many people, whoever may have come to their house at that time, they offered them the lunch or dinner. They offered them food and made them sit with them and have food. So without food, nobody was able to, or nobody could leave their home, even if they have come just to meet. So they do not remember that exactly how many persons, how many people they ate food at their home every day. There was no count of that. See children, they were not so much rich, but even their heart was very big. They were very generous people. The mother and father of Abdul Kalam. Now, the second paragraph. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. He was one of many children. See here, exactly the number is not given, but he was one among the many children of his parents. But he was quite a normal looking boy. He had no special features or very nice handsome looks. He was a short boy, that is short heighted. But his parents were tall and handsome. Parents were tall and beautiful, but he wasn't. We lived in our ancestral house. Ancestral means the house which was inherited. Inherited means got from parents and grandparents, like so on, passed. Got from parents, that is inherited. Then, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. Their house, it was built in the middle of 19th century sometime. It was fairly large pakka house. See, house was pakka house, not like some cottage or hut, but it was made of limestone and brick. Limestone, you know, that white stone, that is the chuna, and brick on the mosque street in Rameshwaram. They lived in a Muslim street where mosque was there in Rameshwaram. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts. Austere means strict, but this strict is not in a negative way. He was strict, but he believed in moral values. Strictness had a good thing, positivity in itself, that they were not ready to show off. Okay, we'll bring the biggest size of TV or lakhs and lakhs rupees fridge or like that. And they did not believe in essential comforts and luxuries. See, comforts and luxury to a level, it's okay for your body, your mind. But they believed in, yes, you can say, simple living and high thinking. So his father was strict, but in a positive way. He used to avoid, he used to ignore all the inessential. Inessential means, yes, you can say not essential. Not essential means not required. These luxuries are not required, then they will not have it, nor let their children have it. However, all the necessities were provided. But which kind of necessities? Which are really needed or required, like in terms of food, education, clothes or medicines. In terms of food, medicine or clothes, that will be all. They will not go to dine outside like today's children like you and me, or going to a water park and enjoying themselves, but they were limited to the regular eating at home and giving the medicines whenever required, or the proper clothes. That is simple living and high thinking. I would say mine was a very secure childhood. Secure means emotionally very, very safe. Emotionally safe. That is secured childhood. Emotionally it was safe and sound without any tension and worries. Secure here means without any tension and worries. Both materially means in terms of like physical, whatever needs were there, or emotional, like love of the parents. So that was the first paragraph lesson, page number first. Then we move on to the second page of the lesson, paragraph number 3. The Second World War broke out in 1939, as you and me know very well, when I was 8 years old. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. See, when the Second World War broke out in 1939, everybody was affected. India was unwillingly joined by the Britishers and considered as joining the World War. And he was only 8 years old, very, very small boy. And that time he was able to get his own first wages, that is first earnings of his life. We like it very much when we have our first house by our own income. We buy our smallest things with our money. We earn money for the first time. That's a very, very big deal for us. Reasons he was not able to understand why there is a sudden demand for tamarind seeds in the market. Erupted means suddenly emerged, came up. The sudden demand of tamarind seed. Tamarind means imli, that is the fruit which is used for making the vegetable and pulses or anything food items sour, or making chutney. Tamarind. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on the mosque street. So he used to collect the tamarind seeds and sell to a provision shop where we get the groceries. Provision shop, that is, we get all kinds of pulses and other things in rice and dal and all groceries. Okay, a day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. Means for one day he'll work very hard, and he was able to get a princely sum. Princely here means very, very high amount, but for him it was a high amount because yes, he had earned it for the first time in his life. This was his first job, and 1 anna is equal to 1/16th of a rupee. 1 rupee, you have heard, children. This 1 anna is equal to 1/16th part of that rupee also. 1 rupee is 16th part. If we divide 1 rupee into 16 parts, then you will get 1 anna. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinmani. Now, what happened? His brother-in-law Jalaluddin told stories related to the war, that this was the headline, this happened, and that is likely to happen in Dinmani. Dinmani is a newspaper. He would find in newspaper that is anything told by my brother-in-law is been written over there in the newspaper. He tried to find out the stories related to war. Trace means to find out. Means to find. He would like to find out the stories related to the war. Our area being isolated means totally alone, separated or segregated from the rest of the area. Why it was so? Because it was an island, so was completely unaffected by the war. It was a very positive sign and thing that his area was totally unaffected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces, and something like a state of emergency was declared. Soon India was also forced to join, the Allied forces, the forces which are indulged in World War II, which were the superpowers of World War II, and something like a state of emergency was declared. The first casualty came. Here written the Allied forces, the armies of UK and USA and Russia during the Second World War. So casualty came, some problems, some rules and regulations were there in sort of emergencies. So first that kind of regulation was there, came into the form of suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. Now, the train which used to stop at Rameshwaram station, now because of Second World War, this first change was there, that it was banned. It was told no to stop the train at Rameshwaram station. Suspension means totally stopping. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushakoti. Now, newspapers, they were not allowed to be, there was no halt. So, how could newspapers reach Rameshwaram? So, what idea was there, that inside from the moving train, the newspapers were properly bundled, that is tied properly, and just thrown down at the Rameshwaram station, because the train wouldn't get a halt there. It wouldn't get a stop. Halt, HALT, halt means to stop. That forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles. And as if naturally, I filled the slot. Shamsuddin helped me on my first wages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. When the train was not able to stop, his cousin Shamsuddin, who was coming to Rameshwaram, getting down there and distributing the newspapers, it was his daily work. Now the train wouldn't stop, so it became difficult for him to continue his job. So what did he do? He needed a helping hand. He needed somebody who was living in Rameshwaram, who lived in Rameshwaram, and he could help him with catching the bundles thrown out from the train and distribute the papers in Rameshwaram, the newspapers. So Rameshwaram, in Rameshwaram, who was the person? This I. Who is I? APJ Abdul Kalam. He filled the slot. Slot means the empty space was there, that is, somebody was needed to distribute the papers in Rameshwaram, so he helped them with it. He helped his cousin and he earned his first wages. Still he felt such pride that he can easily get money for the first time.